Coming from these Philly streets, walking to my own beat, telling noisemakers I won't compete, cause I know I'm gonna be a beast. I go hard for what I want, I go hard for what I need. Travel.
Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all, and welcome back to another powerful episode of The Face Behind the Brand. I am your host, Denise Murray, your favorite accountant, business strategist, podcast plug for all things purpose-driven, profitable, and powerful. Now, before we dive into today's episode, make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube at UBE LLC TV. That's where you can watch every episode, catch some behind the scenes moments, and get bonus content that you won't find anywhere else. So go ahead and subscribe now so you don't miss a thing. All right, now, if y'all ready to get inspired, educated, and reminded that your dreams are valid, then you're in the right place. Now, this podcast is where we pull back the curtains and shine a light on the stories, strategies, and struggles that makes entrepreneurs who they really are, not just highlight reels, but the heart behind the hustle. Now, today's guest is a powerhouse in the digital marketing space. He is someone whose story will absolutely light a fire in you. I'm talking about no other than Gerald Bass, the CEO and founder of the Rise of the 1%. A consulting firm, an e-learning platform that helps coaches, consultants, course creators, and service providers pack out their calendars and scale to 20K to 50K monthly online. I'm going to say that again, monthly online. Now, y'all, Gerald started just like many of us, learning through trial and error, building from scratch. He went from moving back home with his mom after his first business declined to helping entrepreneurs hit consistent 5-figure months. He created a movement and a mission to generate 1 billion in success stories without even taking a beat within the next 3 years. And if I had to give him on this show so y'all can hear all on how he began and how it's going. And just to give y'all a little tip, he actually helped me in this business since he was referred to me. He was the one who made it possible for me to leave my 9 to 5 and become a 6-figure income. So no other than Mr. Gerald Bass. Let me bring him to the stage. Hey, Gerald.
Hey, Denise. Hey. Wow. Huge introduction. Huge.
Yes.
Huge.
Yes. Yes, Gerald. I just want to give you your props because, like I said, I was sitting there struggling, trying to make it work. And when I said I just was throwing in the towel a couple times, kept, going back to the 9 to 5. And as you know, when I started with your company, I still was working my 9 to 5. And I was just like trying to make it work and it just wasn't going. But because of the help of y'all, here I am now. So I just want to say thanks before we even get started. And then
no problem.
We can go ahead and if you and just so we can start off with just going and taking us back into your early years and your early days in Decatur, Georgia, and your entrepreneurial journey. Can you just kind of tell us how that all began?
Absolutely. Definitely. Well, first of all, thank you, Denise, again for bringing me on. And I'm excited about your platform and what you have launched here for different entrepreneurs, different business owners, those that are just doing amazing things to be able to share their story, share their journey, and be able to as well add any tremendous value and impact to your audience. So definitely appreciate you for bringing me on. So yes, like Denise said, my name is Gerald Bass. I actually am from Decatur, Georgia. And that's actually where I was raised. And I was born in Atlanta, Georgia, but I was raised in Decatur. And pretty much I came up in a 2-family household to about high school. Around about high school, my parents did separate. And my mom pretty much was raising me throughout high school. I'm actually from a street in Decatur, Georgia. It's called Glenwood Road. Okay, so if you ever been to Atlanta or ever get to go to Decatur, Georgia, and you hear about Glenwood Road, you may want to visit, you may not want to visit. It's not the most friendliest place for most people, but that's actually where I grew up, off of that particular street. And I'm the guy who actually grew up. I played sports coming up. I played baseball. I played a little bit of basketball and football, but baseball was one of my favorite sports. And I know that's not the most favorite amongst the African-American community, but that was one of my favorite sports. And when I actually got into high school as well, alongside playing sports, I actually had a passion for music. And so I actually started to do music while I was in high school. What I mean by music, I was in the hip hop business. Actually started off as an artist myself, working with other artists. One of the artists that actually I started to work with, who I met at a younger age, around about first grade, but we actually went on to high school together as well. His name was Rara. Okay. Some people knew him in the music business for some years as Young Capone. He went on to as well call himself Rara to Dope Boy Ra. And he did business himself with Jermaine Dupri with So Def Records, another company called Trotty Entertainment to own with T.I. with Grand Hustle. And this was a guy who I actually learned a lot from when it came to the music business, specifically when I was in high school. And when I was in high school as well, I actually myself, being I was in the music side of things, I decided to get into the band. So I actually was in marching band in high school. I was in what they call symphonic band, jazz band. I played a lot of different genres of music. And when I was finna graduate from high school, I decided that I actually wanted to go on to college at that time. And I also wanted to pursue music in college. And so the college I actually went on to was a college called Florida A&M University, which is called FAMU. It's an HBCU down in Tallahassee, Florida. I know the niggas familiar with FAMU because your daughter, yeah, I know. Bethune-Cookman, which is one of our, they call it rivals or what have you. So yeah, I went to FAMU, and I was in the marching band at FAMU. I took up music at FAMU as well. And while I was at FAMU, I was also still doing the entertainment business of being an artist. I was producing music. I was engineering music. I was coming home on breaks, doing music with Rara, who was real big in the music business. But around that time as well, I started my own crew called ATL Hard Hitter Squad. And we later formed on to become a company called Hard Hitters Productions Incorporated that I actually started in 2006. And I actually was the CEO and founder of that particular company. I was only 20 years old. So I actually started my first company. Yes, I was 20 years old. I was a youngin'. And to be quite frank with you, some of the guys I brought on to actually be a part of the business with me were way older than me. So I was one of the guys that always hung with guys that was kind of older than me. So some people say I have an older soul and stuff like that because of that. And pretty much, like I said, I started that entertainment company. I was an artist. I was producing. I was engineering. I was also managing other artists. And while I was at FAMU, I saw a lot of my buddies having a lot of success back here in Atlanta in terms of the entertainment business at that time. And so I said, you know what? This was around 3 years of me being at FAM, by the way. And I said, I want to go back to Atlanta because I see a lot of my guys, they winning in the entertainment business, and I felt like I was being left behind. So I came back to Atlanta, and I actually said, I'm not going to drop out of college. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong. I know people that don't finish school or college for their own reasons. But me personally, I was like, no, I'm not going to drop out completely. My mom, my pops was kind of behind me going to college. Even though my mom didn't go to college, my dad did. But they was behind me, like going to college and stuff. And my homies in the neighborhood was like, gee, we want to see you finish college. So I came back. I went to Georgia State. I took up a degree in business administration, concentration in marketing. And while I was at Georgia State, I actually as well became a party and concert promoter here in Atlanta, Georgia. So I actually started promoting clubs alongside doing music, producing, engineering, and management. And I started to do very well while I was in college. So I'm going to college. By the way, let me share this with you all. Because I hear people all the time sometimes say, I don't have enough time to do things. Let me explain to you what my schedule was like. I was a full-time college student at Georgia State. I also got me a part-time job because my entertainment business hadn't taken off yet. I worked at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution newspaper. I was selling newspapers. So that was my first introduction to sales. And my mom actually got me that job because my mom was a sales rep outside of her full-time job. So I did that. And then I was also been about entertainment business at nights. And I also had to do my schoolwork. So I got all this going on at one time, right? And I did the Atlanta Journal-Constitution for about 6 months. I didn't do it that long. Then I started working for Turner Field here in Atlanta, which is what Atlanta Braves play at that time. They now play out in Cobb County, but this time it's playing Fulton County. And I worked for them, and I was going to school doing the entertainment business. Long story short, pretty much my entertainment business actually started to take off. Before I even finished college, while I was still working a part-time job. I mean, it took off while I was making a great amount of money every single week in the business. I was promoting the club here in Decatur, by the way, named Score Sports Bar. It used to be on Wesley Chopper Road at the time. I mean, we had packed crowds every single week. And I was also promoting another club called Secrets Lounge, another club called Echelon 3000. And between all these three clubs, I'm going to be quite frank with you. I was making more money than your average college student. Really more money than, to be quite frank with you, average working people. I would be in college at Georgia State, and I would have cash literally falling out my pockets, where some of the students thought I was doing some of the other stuff. That was
hustling.
He got all this cash falling out his pockets in class. What that dude doing? You know what I mean? So no, it was all from club promotions. And quite frankly, I said, you know what? I'm gonna quit working this job, and I'm just gonna finish school and do the entertainment business. I graduated from Georgia State 2010 with my college degree in business administration marketing. And I said, I'm gonna go full-time in business. So I did the entertainment business for some years. I was fortunate enough to do business, and I don't like to name drop, but just so y'all can know, I'm just not your little average club promoter or whatever. I had throwing parties. I did events with Future, 2 Chainz, Floyd Mayweather, Rick Ross, Yo Gotti, actresses, as well, such as she was on the Housewives at that time, but like Evelyn Lozada did business with Maya, who's an R&B singer. All these different people have came through my events, and there's many more that I'm not even naming at this time. But I did a lot of business with these individuals, and I was very successful, and I had a very successful team as well, not even just myself. And what happened around 2011, after all this success, winning for so many years, we took a huge decline in income, and it was due to the economy. And this was just a few years after 2008. 2008, of course, the crash happened with real estate and things of that nature, a lot of foreclosures and stuff like that. This is a few years after. But what happened with entertainment, because people ask me to this day, Gerald, why did you leave the entertainment business and go and do other things? Because when they go look at some of my stuff from back in the day, they're like, dang, it seemed like y'all was doing well. We were doing well. But the entertainment scene changed. People wasn't going out as much because the economy. People wasn't spending as much on going out, bottle service, VIP sessions. People was not spending that money as much anymore. So my income took a huge decline. I was literally on a brink, and I honestly share this in many other webinars that I've done in the past. I was on the brink of bankruptcy. Like, seriously, it was that horrible where the money was not coming in. And so around that time, I had one of my buddies who used to be in the entertainment business with me. He used to promote exotic dance clubs with me here in the city. And that was one of the clubs I used to do too, exotic dance clubs. And he pretty much said, hey, G, I got an opportunity for you, man. If you want to make some additional streams of income. And so he introduced me to an industry called network marketing and direct sales. This was in 2011. It was a telecom and energy company. And when he introduced me, I went to the big hotel meeting they was having. They had the founders, co-founders, all that there. And it was a packed room. I'll be quite frank with you. I heard all the success stories, and I was like, man, this sounds great. But I had when I was in the entertainment business, I used to make very quick investment decisions, and I lost a lot of money. I'm talking about even outside of the entertainment business. Like, people used to come to me with all these investments, and I'd be like, all right, man, I'll put up with you. And I'd be losing so much money. So I'm gonna be quite frank with you. I was like, no, I ain't gonna move too fast on this one. I'm gonna be a little bit more calculated, right? And so I didn't move immediately. But what ended up happening was later that year, 2011, he hit me up again. He was great at follow-up. This is a big thing for you. You're listening to this, you got to follow up with people. You never know. It may not be right at that time, or it might be right later at another time. He followed up with me and he said, Gerald, networking event tonight, man. Gonna be a bunch of multimillionaires, millionaires, people having success, man. Come out, man. Come hang out with me. Of course, I'm not gonna turn that down. All right. Multimillionaires. I'm there. Send me the address. What time? Where I need to be. So he sent me the address. It was an address out to Johns Creek here in Atlanta, which is, if you don't know what Johns Creek is, that's a very wealthy place here in Georgia. And I go out there and, literally they got to take my ID to get in the gate. They got to call the person to let me in. I said, okay, this is serious. Yeah, like, I ain't put up to anybody's house. Like, I was the person at the gate, they won't even just let me in. So I'm like, okay, this is real. So I go in, and when I pull up, it's a big old mansion. I'm gonna be all the quite frank with you. A lot of luxury cars outside. I walk in and I go downstairs and I see people gathered down there. And lo and behold, I'm networking, and this lady walks down. This is her house. I found out later. And she starts to do a presentation. And I said, oh, he got me again. Man, he got me again. Right. And it pretty much was another network marketing direct sales presentation for telecom and energy at that time. And she did the presentation. After seeing her lifestyle, seeing her house, I saw her kids, her husband, how happy he was. I seen, they fleet of cars outside. I'm like, okay, they're actually living this. I said, I'm in. I was the only person to join that night, and it was a bunch of guests. I'm the only person. I said, I'm in, and I joined. So I got into the company, and I was still doing the entertainment business. Entertainment business just wasn't where it needed to be. And about pretty much a few months in, I really hadn't done much. I didn't recruit anybody. I didn't get any customers. But around January 2012, that same sponsor that put me in said, hey, man, come to New Orleans, Louisiana. We're having a convention. And he said, I want you to come out. Now, I'm going to be quite frank with you. The entertainment business I was in was going downhill. I really wasn't making no money in the direct sales. I didn't have a whole lot of money. I didn't have a big savings, anything. I kind of ran through my savings. I said, I'm going to get out there, though. And I went out to New Orleans, Louisiana. I stayed in a crappy hotel in a crappy neighborhood. It literally was in the hood. I'm gonna be quite frank with you. New Orleans is not the place you want to be staying in the hood. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm in the hood. and literally, I go to this conference. It's a 3-day conference, and I started to see, long story short, people like myself, similar backgrounds, sharing their success stories. And I said, if they can do it, why can't I? I said, I'm gonna take this seriously moving forward. So I leave that conference, I take the information they give me, I implement it. Long story short, literally 8 months later, I hit the position. It's called national director in that company. I literally had hit 5 positions in the compensation plan in 8 months.
Wow.
And I built a sales team around 323 people. And we had about 1,600 residual paying customers on our telecom and energy services. And we was doing well, right? And I literally left the entertainment business at that time. So some people ask, why didn't I need it? I was making more money. I said, I didn't need the entertainment business anymore. So I went full-fledged with that. Now, Denise, around about 3 years of doing that business, what ended up happening was we started to run out of warm market and the different ways we was utilizing to generate leads and recruits and customers and all that. We was doing everything under the sun, right? We was doing home events because home events was big then. It's not as big now because you got internet and stuff, but back then you used to have to go do home events, like get people to come out to a home and do a presentation, hotel meetings, getting people out to that, webinars. I used to have to hop on planes and travel all over the country and do presentations for my team. All of those type of things. We was even, Denise, going out, passing out flyers. like literally at malls, at events here in Atlanta, cold calling. We was doing everything. And we got to a point we was like, man, I'm getting tired of all this rejection. And so we were just like, it got to be another way to do this. So I saw one of my buddies at the time who actually introduced me to this business model. He posted on social media, I'm crushing it on social media and internet, growing my business. I don't have to hit the streets. I don't have to do home meetings. I don't have to worry about hotel meetings. I don't got a cold call. I mean, we was putting out bandit signs, like the realtors put the bandit signs around the city. He didn't have to do, he was like, I don't have to do any of that. So I hit him up. I said, hey, bro, you got to show me what you're doing. So pretty much he got on the call with me and he shared with me this idea of attraction marketing. This was 2014. Now, today, everybody is hype on attraction marketing in 2025. This was over 10 years ago. He was like, bro, attraction marketing. So he started to talk to me about these strategies. I'm like, oh, this sounds great, but I'm going to need some assistance with this. I need you to coach me because, you know, you're just telling me, all right, cool, but I need some help. So he said, all right.
I need you to tell me.
Right, exactly. You share the strategies, but how can you help me? And he said, well, I can coach you, but you're going to have to pay me, you know, for my time. And I said, all right, cool. What's the price? He told me the price. I'm going to be quite frank with you. You all that's watching this. Because I hear people all the time that have gotten on calls with me, my team, and other clients of mine over the years. I don't have the money for that type of stuff. Be quite frank with you, I didn't have the money. I didn't. I ran through my savings. Network marketing at that time, my income took a huge dip. I had the money. I borrowed the money. And I paid him. And I told him, hey, coach me. Literally 30 days later, I had $1,000 a day online, Denise. All right? $1,000 a day online. A few months later, we launched it to a new network marketing company because that company went downhill. It was in the travel industry. I got into that, and literally within 70 days of being in that travel company, I took those internet marketing strategies that I learned, and I taught them to people that I was even enrolling. And literally in 70 days, I was ranked amongst the top 5% of income earners out of the entire company. It was around 12,000 representatives, okay, at that time. I was on track to be a diamond. Literally, I would say around about 6 months or less. And diamond is at the top 3%.
Right.
And you only needed 300 people on your team to be diamond, equally balanced throughout your organization. I was on track, but when I was almost that close to diamond, I started to have what they call attrition. People started falling out, and I had to rebuild. So it took me about a year to get to diamond, a little over a year. And I hit diamond. I was ranked amongst the top 3% of income earners. I had people in my team who also became top producers. And it was about 45,000 representatives. And while I'm in that company, Denise, I was coaching with a coach at that time. And I told him, I said, network marketing is great, but I believe I'm destined for a bigger impact than this. And see, what people don't realize is when I got in network marketing, I never got in there for my career to be a professional networker. I always share this because some networkers ask me, Gerald, if it was so good and you was making so much money in your residual, all that, I made a great amount of money in network marketing, great amount. Be quite frank with you, I did. And I had team members make a lot of money. But here's the reality. I never got into it just for that. I looked at it as a vehicle to be able to go on to do other things. That was my main thing. I'm a businessman. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I've been one since I was a kid. What I mean by a kid, I didn't even share this, Denise. I used to sell candy in high school. I kind of missed over that part, right? So I've always been an entrepreneur at heart, right? So my thing is, when I was in that travel company, I told my coach, listen, I've always had this curiosity. And you can stop me anytime, Denise, if you want, by the way. I know I'm just going on because I get passionate.
People need to hear this because, you know, me being in network marketing as well, like people need to hear this story. That's all.
Got you.
It all so they can hear it.
Absolutely, I got you. I get passionate about this, but I was like, I told the coach that was coaching me at that time, I said, listen, man, I've always had this curiosity for what makes the great great. What makes certain people get into that top, what they call 1% versus others. I always had this passion. And this is around about 2014, 15. And so I told him this. He said, okay, sounds great. He said, what you going to do about it? I said, well, I have an idea of starting a conference call where I interview entrepreneurs who I feel are rising into what we call the top 1% are already in the 1%. Right. And he said, sounds great to me. How soon you getting started? You getting started next week? How soon? Because that's how my coach was. That's why it's great to have a coach. How fast you getting this going? You talking about it. When you going to do it though? You know, I'm like, let's get it going ASAP. So I started to interview, Denise, different entrepreneurs and business owners who I felt were rising into the top. They may haven't been in what they call the 1% yet, but I felt like even you, Denise, I've invited you onto the Rise 1% podcast to this day. We'll get to that later. But who people I felt like they got like huge potential to do big things in the future. Or they already doing big things. Mm-hmm. And so I did these interviews, Denise, on a conference call. This wasn't podcast. Podcast wasn't as big yet. People used to have to dial in, Denise, and they would listen to me interviewing. I'm talking about the calls would be packed. Like literally, they were free calls. Yeah, people would have to dial into a line and they would listen to me interview. Like it was weeks where people,
It's like a prayer line, like where everybody
one of those kind of lines. Yep. Mm-hmm. They would dial in and I would interview these people, and it was packed almost every single week. Yep. And so after doing it for some months in 2015, I was like, you know what? I went back to my coach at the time. I said, listen, this is great, man, but I want to make a bigger impact in this. I think I want to turn this into a full-fledged community and company. And I want to take my skill sets of digital marketing, sales, and business growth and start a full-fledged company. And so that's when we get into around October 3rd, 2016, we launched what's now called the Rise of the 1%, right? And it was basically formed from there. But I stopped there for now, Denise, but that's what that story was like, you know, up until this point.
That's a journey right there, boy. And I didn't even know you was like that deep into music. I remember like I seen pictures and things, but I never knew how deep you were. And that's really cool that you really was like in the music like that. That's really, I didn't even know that about you.
Yeah, Denise, because I know Denise, because I saw you engaged on one of my pictures I put up, I think it was 1 or 2 weeks ago or so. And I put up a picture on Facebook of me and some of the homies way back in the day. Right. And that was me, and Ra was in the middle. Like I say, rest in peace to Ra. He passed away a couple years ago.
Yeah, I saw that on your post, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, some of my other homies, and we was all in the music business at that time. Wow. You know, we all came up together. So, you know, yeah, it came all the way from that. And I tell people all the time, even as I build my Rise to the 1% team and Antonio, people that's came on the team over the years, I instill in them some of my work ethic and some of my habits and the way I go about growing business. I'm gonna be quite frank with you, come from back then, because I learned a lot at a young age on how, hey, you gotta have strong work ethic to do this. You gotta be dedicated. You gotta be committed. You gotta be willing to go all in on your business. Ra, who I even talk about very quickly, Denise, and I won't spend much time on that, but even Ra, he was a guy, like I say, he went on to get record deals and all this type of stuff later on, and we all used to admire that when we was youngins coming up, like, dang, Ross signed with Jermaine Dupri and signed with T.I. He did deals with all these folks. But people don't know that when we was in 8th grade, Ra kind of like literally, he stopped going to school at a young age. He dropped out at 15 years old to do music, like literally, right? And he would call my phone every morning. I was still going to school. He would call my phone every morning. Hey, G, I want to come, because I had a studio at my house, in my parents' house. We put the studio at my parents' house. He would call my house. G, we had a studio at my parents' house. He would call my phone every morning, Denise. G, bro, I want to come work in the studio all day. I know you got to go to school. You going to school. I want to go to the studio. You allow me to work in there all day. And I'm going to be frank with you. We never found nothing missing in our house. Ryan never steal nothing. I would let him be in my house all day, in my parents' house. He'll record And when I got out of school, we'll do music together. And I think that passion, me seeing that ingrained in me when I did music business and promotions, and then network marketing, to now even what we do at the Rise 1%. That always ingrained with me the type of work ethic and passion you got to have to really be successful at what you're doing.
That's so true. And that's why I always tell people, if you get into anything, honestly, I always tell people, don't look at the money, look at what you're passionate about, because if you just focus on the money, you're going to get tired of what you're doing. If you like it, you're passionate about it, you're going to hit that board no matter what's going on. You ain't going to be able to sleep at night sometimes because you're thinking about what you got to do next and 100%. What else you need to do to make it grow. And like you said, you can invest in yourself. Like, even if you broke, you're going to be like, look, I got to figure out a way because I got to get this knowledge. I got to get this going. You're going to do whatever it takes when you're passionate. And that's why I say, do what you're passionate about. Don't just do your money, because your passion can make you all the money in the world, long as you're going to go at it.
And I agree, Denise, 100%. And because with marketing, for me, I love marketing. I love sales. I love seeing businesses grow. It's not just about the money. I've been marketing, like I say, since my early 20s. That's the thing I do. Sales thing I do. Seeing businesses grow has been my thing since my early 20s. That's what I love to do. So it has never always just been about money. It's about, man, I want to see the end result. When I look at, I'm going to tell you this, Denise, and for you all that's watching this, being you going hard for your clients, even if it's not marketing and sales, let's say you have another type of business, you're viewing this. When you get results for your clients and you get those testimonials, always, if you can. I told one of the new clients I just onboarded this week for our business, I told her, because she was like, Gerald, I just put my website up, and she was showing me her website. She said, I want to put a testimonial section on there. I think I'm going to get some written testimonials from clients. I said, that's fine, but if you could get video testimonials from clients and get them on your website and go back and review and look at those things from time to time, it'll give you so much fuel to really thoroughly understand this is your purpose. Anytime I get down at times, and we all do, we all human. Businesses have those roller coaster moments, and you like, oh man, it's not going the way I want it to be, or whatever. The way to really be able to pretty much like refuel yourself in terms of your vision is go back and look at the people you serve and results you got. Denise is on our website. I share Denise all the time. I share Denise, and we bringing on different financial service providers right now, and I share Denise all the time. We have a couple of others too in financial services. And when I look at those testimonies, it refuels me. Like, man, we got something great, right? This is our purpose. We really helping people in this realm, and so that's something you really have to do. And as long as you got that passion and you got, you identify your purpose, and like Denise just said, it's not just all about money. Your vision is bigger than that. The money will come.
That's so true. And what you just said, you told me that when I was like, oh yeah, you said put those videos, and I was like, I don't know. And I was like getting everybody written thing. And then when you said that, and I actually, and it's so crazy because what you just said, I literally, I was like, let me do a funnel. And when I did my birthday funnel that time, and I had people doing the videos for me of testimonials for my funnel, and I literally just started crying because I was like, oh my God, when the one lady sent me something, she's telling me about how she was able to buy a house off of me helping her. And she got her dream home with her. And she was showing me the video of her pool in her house. And I was just like, oh my God, I did this. It just felt so good. It just felt so good when you actually able to see, when you genuinely really like what you're doing, it feels so good when you see people accomplishing and growing. And even little stuff, when I deal with my people, just little, with my team, and I'm like, just like you said, with network marketing, and I tell my people, I know we have a travel business. However, you are bigger than that. I'm like, what is it that and I still get on that. What are you passionate about? What do you like doing? Get into that too. Let's push that out there. Let's do this. And one of the girls is like, I really love doing this X, Y, and Z. And she really just finally, she just kept saying she ain't have no money. Money wasn't coming in. She wasn't getting people in the business. And it just wasn't working for her. So I was like, you know what? I'm the type like this in network marketing. It ain't working for you right now. like keep it there because you know it's going to grow. However, focus on something else where you know you can make some money right now that you're passionate about. And we put something together, and she started. Yeah, I was just like, when she put her flyer, I was like, yes. I was like, yes. I was so hyped.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I even started sharing it. Like, look, everybody see this. Like, and I had other people sharing it because I'm just like, that just made me like feel so good. That really put something in me. Like, I don't know how other people are, but that's why I said I love y'all with the Rise of the 1% because I'm just like, y'all really do that with all of y'all people that y'all help. Like you put that in, like you telling us, hey, do this. Like this is going to help you to the next level. That's what I love about it. But let me say, what is one of the biggest misconceptions that new entrepreneurs have about digital marketing that you think?
That's a great question. I would say a lot of new entrepreneurs, to me, in my opinion, a lot of times they kind of focus a little too much on branding in the beginning stages. They don't realize that you thoroughly can create a brand if you just consistently have the right marketing strategies in place and you're very consistent with doing them over time. You can actually build a brand. A lot of times they're too focused on logo design in the beginning. This is my opinion. I'm not saying that you don't need a logo. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is they're too focused on, I can't take any action until I have a logo. I can't take any action until I have a website. I can't take, any action until I have a funnel or whatever the case may be. In reality, you can take some action before that. To be quite frank with you, for you all that's watching this, I actually landed some of my first consulting clients when we first launched in terms of consulting and coaching or what have you before we got into running the agency, before I even had a website. It was really more about just really being able to know how to generate leads and be able to show the value of our particular offer, our particular product, service, that they can actually help solve the problem. Our first potential clients didn't really even care about that, to be quite frank with you. Can we demonstrate that we can solve the problem? And I actually went out and accumulated my first 2 to 3 clients, and they paid for my website, right? Through just getting them, just showing value, right? So I think a lot of times it's just a little too much caught up on branding type stuff. And at times too, I would say as well in today's time is a lot of people just believe when it comes to digital marketing, I can just hop on social media and post from time to time and I'm gonna get a flood of business. And it really doesn't work that way, right? It's a lot of different moving parts from content creation. You got to have posting strategies, absolutely. But as well, I believe you should have some outbound system. I believe you should as well, yes, have a funneling system where you can get inbound leads. I believe you should be able to as well layer on email marketing, SMS marketing, potentially look at building a sales team over time, not in the beginning, but over time. Leveraging networking events offline, not just focusing just online, go out and network. If you can get on stages, if that's the business that you have that allows you to get on certain stages to speak, I think that's great as well in terms of today's time. So it's a lot of different ways. I don't think people just should rely just on focusing so much on just branding and also as well just posting and that's it.
Yeah, I was telling a couple of people that I was talking about y'all business actually. And the reason why I push for y'all business so much is because of the fact that you do talk about how to grow your business without having paid ads and all these other things. You actually are going in and actually doing the back end work. And I'm like, because it's like we had not long ago when they had shut down TikTok and people was making money and they're like, oh my God, they start crying and all. And I'm just like, it's crazy because what if all these social media platforms died tomorrow? And one of the things that you taught us in the class is like, you need to have an email list. You need you need to have contact lists. You need to have the CRM. And that was one thing you told us in the very beginning, because you're like, with having that CRM, you can always communicate with your people. And I'm like, when you just focusing just solely on social media, if it crashed tomorrow, what you gonna do if you can't reach nobody? And
some some years ago, Denise, Instagram went down like for some hours. As a matter of fact, I was just flying back into town from some function I went to, and I remember that. And I was seeing everybody panicking. They was like, man, Instagram shut down. I'm missing out on business today because that was some people's main platform on generating business. And I'm like, we're not panicking because we had this huge subscriber list of all these emails that we've gathered over the years. We're going to continue just emailing our list, whether the social media is up or not. So like you just said, that's a huge thing. Your email list is one of your biggest assets on the internet because you own it. You know, you don't own Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or Twitter or X or whatever they call it. You know, Instagram, LinkedIn, these different platforms. You don't really own those platforms, but your email list, you own it. You can continue to,
that was a plus where you told me about that because I was like, hold on now, I need to read it. And so that made me rethink about, because at first I was getting stressed because I felt like, okay, at the time I'm like, all these people on social media, and I'm like, I don't have all this attraction marketing. I'm like, what I'm attracting? I'm sitting in the house. What am I doing? So I was just like, for me, it was like becoming, I think with some people it becomes stressful, especially if you're more of an introvert like me. I'm like that. I think I'm both. I'm an introvert, but it's like I can be an extrovert at times, but I am like to myself. And like in the business, they will say I'm a green because I'm more of that people who have to, you know, I'm like, I gotta research and I gotta this, like that's me. It's like I was like, I think that's why I had loved the ride so much, because you put it all out in front of you. But one of the things I wanted you to talk about is, how do you help clients? Because I know you help me, but I want other people to know how you can help clients go from $2K a month to $20K a month. And, you know, how do they do that with your strategies?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is this. I mean, when I have potential clients come to us and those that become clients, is for one, I see a lot of times, a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners in those spaces that we serve, coaches, consultants, course creators, service-based business providers. Typically, they have a lot of different niches. So we typically like to narrow in on a specific niche market or even a sub-niche within a niche, over having so many different niche markets. And then once we identify what that niche market is, the next thing is, okay, what is the biggest painful problem, frustration that they have, and the desired outcome they want, and how are you going to help bridge the gap? How are you going to help them get from point A to point B, right? And that's typically through what we call your offer. Now, in the beginning stages, we don't recommend entrepreneurs and business owners having too many offers. You really need 1 or 2 offers in the beginning stages, right? You don't need 5, 6, 7 different offers. That's another thing, right? What are the 1, 2 main offers that we can focus in on to drive the traffic, generate the leads, and get the clients? All right. Once we thoroughly understand that, the next thing is sales process. Do you have a sales process? Meaning you just generate leads into your calendar, because we've had clients that we help them generate tons of leads, help them fill a calendar, but they can't close nothing. Do you have a sales process if we help you get those leads, get those appointments, that you could convert that prospect over to a paying client? Do you have some type of framework you follow on calls? I'm not even saying you got to be so scripted and be so salesy, but do you have a framework, set of questions that you're asking that are already set up? When they come on a call, you don't have to guess, whether that's doing discovery calls, consultations, sales calls, strategy sessions, whatever. Do you have those frameworks? Right. Another thing, do you have what we call a pre-selling mechanism? What that means is a website, or do you have case study videos or some type of video content that you can share with prospects prior to them doing a consultation or a strategy session or a sales call with you, that can warm them up and be pre-sold on your offer, okay, before they even do a call with you? See, when potential clients get on calls with us, Denise, and many of our clients, even when we work with you, Denise, they have what we call pre-selling mechanisms. You know, they're not getting on calls hard selling people. That's a huge thing. Now, once you do that, in terms of doing it without paid ads, so I would say this here. The way we're able to help many of our clients go from that 2K to 20K, 50K plus a month without paid ads is, once you have all those things in place I just shared, whatever social media platform we're going to utilize, whether that's Facebook, for instance, or LinkedIn. Right now, LinkedIn is real big for us. We've used Facebook over the years, and we've gotten a lot of results for our business and clients, but LinkedIn has been one of the strong suits as of lately. And it typically comes down to having a strong profile from background, cover photo, all the way down to the bottom of the profile. It needs to be optimized properly for lead gen, client acquisition, right? It needs to be SEO as well optimized, search engine optimized, where people can actually search on the platform and actually find your profile and potentially look through your profile and say, hey, this is something I need assistance with. I'm gonna reach out to this person. So your profile being optimized. The next thing, a content strategy, Denise. 4 E's of social media marketing for content, and then 1 bonus. You need to be posting enlightening content, which is you need to inspire people. That's inspirational content. The second E is educational content. That's educate and post value-based content. Tips, tricks, strategies, and different resources that can help your potential clients on the internet, right? The third E, entertaining / lifestyle. At times, show a little bit of behind the scenes of your lifestyle, show a little bit of entertainment, show that you're a human, show you got a personality. You don't have to be serious all the time. Show you have a little fun from time to time. Entertaining / lifestyle. The fourth E is engaging content. You got to post content to get people to engage, like, love, comment, want to share your content. You got to post that. And the bonus is case studies, testimonials, and results from clients. Post those. All right. Now, the last thing, Denise, but without paid ads, a lot of people don't like to hear this. This is a big elephant in the room, is you need to have an outbound system. On LinkedIn, per se, I'm going to use LinkedIn, for example, for this particular live stream, because that's been our main focus. We do things on Facebook and Instagram and those platforms too, but I'm just going to talk on LinkedIn because that's what we've been focusing on these days with us and our clients. LinkedIn, if you're in the B2B space or even B2C space, you can use LinkedIn. There's ways you can use it for both angles. We use a tool called Sales Navigator. It's the premium version of LinkedIn. It allows us to search up audiences that we want to target. And then from there, we craft messaging that could go out to those prospects, right? And then from there, we have a software we use that launches campaigns, that outreaches to those prospects, specifically on LinkedIn, creates conversations. And when those conversations start, you going in, you're looking to build rapport, you're looking to identify challenges, and being that your business can help them, you book them into calls off of the platform, right? And that's primarily the strategy we've been using with LinkedIn. Also, if they don't respond on LinkedIn, we put them into email, SMS campaigns off of LinkedIn, and we typically can book calls off of those channels as well. Okay. And most of our clients who are utilizing the system right at this moment, they can book at minimum, depending on their business, 3 qualified calls a week, up to 10 qualified calls a week. At a minimum, 25% close ratio. Minimum 25% closure ratio. Some close at 50 and 60%. And most have premium price products and services. Okay. Where they're not charging, I'm gonna be quite frank with you, they're not charging in the hundreds, they're typically charging in the thousands for their value prop. And so that's why they're able to hit those larger numbers of the 20K, 30K, 40, 50K plus a month.
That's good.
That's what it
is. I know some people like, let me write this down. They're gonna be pausing this part right here. Now, what are 1 or 2 marketing tools or methods that you would swear by right now? That you would tell people that these is the 2 that you ain't gonna not do these 2 things.
You say marketing tools?
Yeah, like what is 2 marketing tools that you would just swear by that you would tell people like this right here is what I'm going to do?
Yeah. Well, I can't share the automated tool we use for outreach on social media because it's real proprietary, but I would definitely say you do need an automated tool for outreach. And we do have one. So if you want to reach out to me, have a private conversation, we can talk about that. But I would definitely say outside of having an automated outreach tool, like for outbound outreach, you need a CRM, which is a customer relationship management system. Our primary one we use now, and I could give those away. The primary one we use right now is Go High Level. We use a white label version of it, but it's primarily Go High Level. Another one we use is Atlas Campaign. Those are some of the CRMs, and those are primarily for like pipeline management of your leads and opportunities and stuff like that. Also, it allows you to do email follow-up, SMS follow-up, or automation, by the way, and things of that nature. So that's primarily some of the tools we use.
Okay, that's good. Now, what I would say, I know sometimes with business, it can be stressful. We all have those up and down days in life. Things happen, life be lifing. But what we would say keep you motivated and keep you continuing to helping into the rise of the 1%?
Yeah, I think the vision. I set out on this vision some years ago that I wanted to create 1 billion with a B dollars in success stories. And I'm real serious about it. That's not something I just threw out there because it sounds cute or whatever. It's like, no, that's really what we're striving to do. Amongst coaches, consultants, course creators, service providers, want to create $1 billion in success stories. I love the level of impact. I put a lot into being an entrepreneur and business owner myself over the years, and I know the different hurdles and challenges that many could go through. And I wish a lot of the information I have now, right, I would have had in my beginning stages, or the strategies I have now, I would have. And I didn't have them. I didn't have the mentorship or guidance several years ago, in terms of the information and strategies I have now on the level of execution. So I want to be able to help others not have to go through that.
Now, what's one lesson that success has taught you that struggle didn't?
That's a great question. I would just say this: don't ride the highs too high, don't ride the lows too low. And what I mean by is when things are going all the way great, just know a storm can be right around the corner. You got to be prepared for it at all times, right? Prepare for peace, right? In times of war. That's just how I look at things. Sometimes we having a lot of success and we winning, and we don't think this gonna ever end.
Right.
I was that way in the entertainment business.
Right.
I'm like, man, like all these winning weeks we having over and over and over again at that time when I was doing club and all that. You don't think it's ever gonna end. You spending frivolously, you're living beyond your means, all that type of stuff. Right. But it kept crashing down. Like, man, I should have been prepared for this, right? Should have saved more money. I should have made more wise investments, things of that nature. So I would say, like, yeah, don't ride the highs too high, and then even the lows too low, even when things may not be going as well. Don't let that tear you all the way down. Don't get out your habits and your routines and fall off the rails. I'm be quite frank with you. Some people will be shocked at this because some people say, Gerald, you're one of the most disciplined people I know, for some people that like really have been around me a whole lot. But they don't know. It's been times where I've slid off the rails a little bit. Business not going as well, and you kind of lose, focus a little bit. You kind of get off certain disciplines and routines and habits you have because things not going as well. You got to stay on the rails. You got to keep pushing forward. You got to stay focused, no matter what, because, you can have that next breakthrough. And I would say this too as well. You only fail a lot of times if you quit. And here's the reality too. Because some people might say, well, Gerald, what if I have a business and it's constantly struggling, been struggling for a long time? When do you know when to give up? Well, here's the reality. This is how I look at this. When you have a business, if you've been looking to grow that business for a while, you've been putting in the work. I mean, it could be months. It might be some years. And you just see like, listen, this thing is really not progressing, right? It's not moving any forward. I mean, it might be time up for it, right? It's not doing anything. I'm not landing clients anymore, or clients are not really getting the results anymore. I'm just not being fulfilled by this anymore. I'm not loving this anymore. I have a disdain towards what I'm doing. And you've been doing it for a while. It might be time to pivot and do something else. But if you've been doing something 3, 4, 5 months, man, it's not going your way.
Right.
Come on, like you gotta keep pushing forward. You only fail then if you just quit and throw in the gloves and you haven't been doing it long enough. That's just my opinion on that.
That's so true. Now, what advice would you give someone listening who feels like they're stuck at the starting line?
Stuck at the starting line. Okay. Well, yeah, if you're stuck at the starting line, my question would be, you need to go back and look at some of those things I talked about. Like, for instance, in terms of your particular business model. And even before then, let's even backtrack before then. For one, is my mindset right? Am I mentally right when it comes to actually even growing a business? Am I really an entrepreneur? Am I really a business? I need to really go back and thoroughly understand, is this something that's really meant for me? Everybody's not meant to be an entrepreneur and business owner. Some people are meant, to just be good at their craft and potentially work with someone else's business, and there's nothing wrong with that. So for one, you make sure there's something I really need to be doing. That's the first thing. The second thing is going into what I just said earlier, Denise. Do I have the niche market? Right? Do I have the problem I'm solving? Do I have a great, compelling offer? Right? And, I'm not marketing several offers at one time. Do I have a great price point? Great sales process? Do I have a system that consistently generate me leads and bring me clients? Or is it just up and down? It's not consistent. It's not predictable in terms of me getting business. If I have all those elements and it's still not working for me, then I might need to seek out some coaching, another expert that might can dive in and really look at my business and see what's the problem, like what's missing here. Right. But at times too, you just gotta as well just question yourself to say, hey, listen, is this what I really need to be doing in terms of business?
Right. Now, what is one of your proudest moments so far? What is one that you can say was like, this has got me right here? One of your proudest moments.
Yeah. That's a great question. I would really say this. It's not really just all about money to me, but I will say though, when I started the Rise of 1%, we did make over 6 figures in less than a year. And there's not a lot in business these days. But in the beginning stages, when you don't have a lot of overhead, you don't have a lot of staff and team, and you make over 6 figures in less than a year, you have something going. And when we actually was able to do that, right, from this idea of something that started off as a conference call for me and us converting over to a community and a company of digital marketing, I said, we have something here. And I was able to, fortunately, by helping so many other entrepreneurs and business owners create results in their businesses, create a lifestyle for myself over the years, right? From this particular business model, humbly speaking, I've had high rises here in Atlanta on the 26th floor of in Buckhead and stuff like that. I've done all that. I've drove in luxury cars. I've done a lot of traveling nationally and internationally, doing all that. I've done things for my family. So I think from there, it was like, okay, I really have some here. Something that literally started, like I say, from a conference call to a full-fledged idea, and all the work I put in to develop the skill sets and the knowledge. Because I'm going to tell you this, Denise, something I did share, and I hope the listeners can listen to this. I put in a lot of work over the years with this, and a lot of time investment, a lot of financial investment. It's a lot that went into this. When you see the fruits of your labor, I've invested in tons of books, courses, coaching programs, masterminds, events, conferences, to also as well, all the overhead that I've had with the business as a whole over the years to continue to grow it. You know what I mean? And the time, when we first launched the Rise, and I share this with y'all, I don't want to scare anybody from entrepreneurship that's still new to it, but I'll tell you, when we first started, like literally, I was sleeping, I say this, literally 4 or 5 hours a day when we first launched the Rise. Now, do I do that now? No. I sleep 7, 8 hour days now. But I can tell you, beginning stages of launching a business, I didn't sleep as much. I was working around the clock. I had a business partner too, helping that person as well. We was working around the clock. So it was a lot of work put in, I see people at times get on calls with me. Our investment to work with the Rise right now is not even that high. Matter of fact, I have actually, lowered our prices a little bit due to the state of the economy right now. And to be quite frank with you, I've invested. For you all that's watching this, I've invested in $30,000 a year masterminds. Literally. I didn't pay all the money up front. It was broken up, but it was $30,000 for the entire year. And I can tell you, most people don't do that. And that's how a lot of my knowledge, I mean, and all the masterminds, Denise, by the way, I want to share this with you. This is going to be big. I was the only African-American in the room.
Wow.
Right? All Caucasians. I'm the only, right? So I'm telling you this right now, that it's the level of sacrifice you make, you know, to really want to get to that next level. And how bad do you want it? How hungry are you for it? And so y'all heard some of the accomplishments I just stated. Listen as well to some of the sacrifices I've made too. And that's what it takes to really get to those levels.
That's deep and that's real. And I hope y'all listen to that, because when I tell you, people want to get into, like you say, everybody is not meant to be an entrepreneur. And when it comes to the sacrifices, it's like, okay, am I going to turn up at a party, or am I going to be sitting here doing what I need to do for my business? If I got a couple of dollars here, this might be my last few dollars, but here come an investment of something that's going to help me be more productive in my business. Am I going to blow it at the bar, or am I going to blow it into making my be more successful? So I always tell people, those things you really got to have that when it comes to the mindset. Do you really have to really, like you said, be in business? And that is so real. And like, that's just so, it just really blowing, because I be talking to people, I'm like, and they be talking, I remember I had a conversation with a girl once, and she was like, I got a party to go to. Okay. I'm like, okay, I flew here to do this, you know. I'm like, I just spent money to go, and you telling me you got a party to go to. Okay, I got you. Okay.
I'm Denise.
This is for you.
I want to speak on that real quickly, Denise. I've been, since the rise of the 1%, I've been in certain people's cities and states who had me come out and speak at events. And I'm going to be quite frank with you. I'm like, I'm in the city and I go speak at the event or whatever. But then after that, you know, unless I decide to go out, I'm just sitting in my hotel room chilling. And I'm kind of like, you know, when I was in direct sales, for example, I would go to certain people markets and they'll fly me out. They might even pay for my hotel and flight and everything. I'm going to be quite frank with you. And they wouldn't even let me sit in my room. Like, they taking me wherever they going, I'm with them. And they peeking my brain. They taking me out to peek my brain the whole time I'm there. And I'm like, you know, over the last years or so, and I'll be quite proud of you. When I went out, I'm like, hey, I'm just sitting in my room if I'm not going out myself. Y'all, you know, I'm here in your market.
You spending your own money for everything. Okay, I done paid to get down here. I gotta pay for my food.
Exactly.
Like, I just spent more money right now to help you. And
that's
then
what I'm saying.
Really, you got something, and then you telling me, "Oh, we gotta cut this short because I got something to do." Like,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So I agree with you there.
Right. I'm like, that's why I say it really is true when they say get with people who have the same mindset and who's really passionate about what they're doing, because if they are not, y'all are going to bump heads a lot. And I was like listening to when I was listening to Tyler Perry one time, and he had did a speech, and he talked about within his business, and he was saying how he was like, it's nobody that can come in my business and tell me about anything that's going on in my business as far as like the task. Because one thing about it is when I started, I did all these tasks by myself. So I know how long it takes to do everything in my business and how much it's going to cost me to do this and that and the other. So if I'm asking you to do, I can tell you how long, you know, so if you BSing me, I know what's going down.
Exactly.
That's so real. Because it's like, and that's like with most of us, we are all starting off as independent. Like we are doing a lot of things on our own. And so you're burning out yourself sometimes, but it's like you got to start somewhere before you can go to the next and start having other people.
And there you go, Denise. And I'm going to tell you this real quickly. That's what a real entrepreneur and business owner does. Like some people think they're entrepreneurs and business owners, but they're really just self-employed, right? They just know how to do tasks. Entrepreneur or business owner, they are a visionary. They're very innovative. They know how to come up with radical ideas, right? They create great products, great services, right? That could service the customers and clients. They understand marketing. They understand sales. They understand customer service, client success, fulfillment. Even Denise, in your space, they understand accounting and bookkeeping. They should understand profit and loss statements, balance sheets. They should thoroughly understand all that as well, right? You got to understand all parts. Now, as you grow your revenue and you become more profitable, yes, you start to build your team and outsource those different things to take those tasks off your hands to free up time where you can focus more of your time on your zone of genius as you move along. And just have more time too to do the things you want to do in your life. But in the beginning, you should be familiar with all those parts if you really an entrepreneur business owner.
Right. And you know, it's funny. I actually had a person who I was calling myself, because I'm the type of person, I don't like to just do work and you don't understand what I'm doing. I like to explain things to people when I'm doing, like, I don't just want to do your work and then you don't know what the heck I did. So if you went to do anything, you have no clue. So I like to break down everything when it comes to their financial statements and all that type of stuff. However, it was like I had one person who was like, I ain't for all this. Look, just do it. Give it to me. I'm good. And I'm just like, okay. But then the person then was calling my phone, and mind you, I'm out of town. So now I'm like, okay, I don't have time for this now. Now you need me to explain all this because you're trying to get a loan, and then you don't know what you're looking at and what you got to give to the people. I said, this is why I was trying to teach you this stuff.
Exactly.
And I'm like, now, I don't have time for this right now.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like, that's why, like, you need to, like, y'all listen to these tips. Like, I'm telling y'all, really take on these tips when it comes to people bring you stuff. Even if you just say you watching this and you like, I'm just not an entrepreneur. I am good at working for my boss. I am good.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that at all. If you are a person doing what you do and you're at your job, be the best at whatever it is that you're doing. Like, make sure you stand out at whatever it is that you're doing.
100%.
If you're going to work, be that person that's just going to the extra mile of what you're doing, because you want to still feel like, because I'm gonna be honest, even when I was still working, one thing that nobody can ever say is that Denise wouldn't go the extra mile. Like, I used to go to work, come home after driving 2 hours to go to work, come home, leave work at 4, drive back another 2 hours to come home, sit in here for 30 minutes, go back on the clock because of the fact that I had people who worked around the clock. So I still had to deal with those people when I came home. I sometimes wouldn't finish, sometimes to 11, 12, sometimes even later, depending on the time. Then on top of that, I was starting my business. So I then had to stop what I was doing, go in and do my clients, the beginning clients that I had after I just did all that for work. So I'm like, you gotta really know, like, you might have some rough time. You're gonna put a lot of your time in it. I put a lot of time, and that's why now I'm trying to focus. And I know I had a guy, he was telling us the other day, he was like, he said he was talking about prism. And one of the things in the prism, he was saying, like, about having your business, you can, if you have to walk away from it, that it still can run without you. And that's things that we all have to grow into, learning how to business plan and put a plan in place to make sure that you can do that and be able to make profits without having to be so hands-on. So you have residual income and different things coming in. So I just want to say to you, Gerald, I know I say it all the time, but I just always want to say thank you, because you really teach, you really pour into your people that comes and connects with you with the Rise. And not only that, you give that step by step. You are hands-on with your people. You're not this right here. No, here you go. Here go some videos to watch, and this is it. No, you really are hands-on. You like, okay, you got me. You need a one-on-one here. Give me a call. You're really hands-on. That's one thing that I really appreciate from you, that you really are really good at what you do. And I just want to give you a round for that. And that's why I'm always, every time I'm talking, I'm shouting into the rooftop. If y'all can see, I have different interviews and things that I did, and I'm always in my interviews like, girl, with the Rise of the 1%, I'm always giving y'all shout outs, because I'm like, if it really wasn't for y'all, I don't think that I would have been able to leave my job. And I really appreciate that from y'all, that I want to say thank you so much. But is there any final things that you want to say, or any events or anything that you have that's going on, or any products that you have that you need to sell or anything right now?
Yeah. So for one, thank you for that, Denise. Definitely appreciate you. And I definitely as well thank you for once again bringing me on here, and always as well sharing, information on how we've helped you and helped many others as well. I definitely appreciate that. But yeah, in terms of what we have going on right now with the Rise, yes, if you are tuned in and you're a coach, you're a consultant, you have an online course, service-based business, and you're looking for ways to be able to help with automating parts of your lead generation, being able to consistently get those clients like me and Denise talked about, being able to grow up to 20K, 50K plus a month without paid ads, you definitely can schedule a call with me. My link, by the way, for that is www.theriseofthe1%.com/strategy call. www.theriseofthe1%.com/strategy call. Or you can just go to the riseofthe1%.com, and we do have our calendar link on there as well. Just go to the website. And outside of that, I would say, yes, we do have an event coming up, but I'm not going to announce it as of yet because we're still putting some things together. But we do have an event coming up here in Atlanta, and it's going to be from entrepreneurs, business owners, and also creators. Like content creators, which Denise is going to be big for you too, because you're in the content creation space as well now. So we're going to be having that coming up, but I'm release those details later on, and I have Denise sharing once we have that out. And outside of that, you can find me on social media, Gerald Bass, Facebook, Instagram, G Bass Wealth Tips, LinkedIn, Gerald Bass, YouTube. I have 2 YouTube channels. One is the Gerald Bass YouTube channel. I share a lot of entrepreneurship and business tips on that channel. And then we have our podcast channel, which is the Rise of the 1% channel, which is Denise is on there. We interviewed her this year as well. You'll see her interview over there if you go over there, the Rise of the 1% YouTube channel. And yeah, we're working right now to take the podcast to the next level this year as well. So those are some of the big things we got going on.
Awesome. Woo. That was so good, y'all. I know y'all got a whole earful today. Y'all like, hold on. I know y'all been taking the notes. Y'all writing down, hold on, what did he say? Yeah, I know y'all gonna be pausing this a couple of times, but I want to say thank you. And we are going to go ahead, put your information in. When we post this out, we'll make sure your information is at the bottom. So whoever you are, you need to check out Gerald's work. I'll have it at the bottom for you to click on it for the riseofthe1%.com. And you can also follow him on all his platforms, and I'll have all his links at the bottom. So again, I want to say thank you, Gerald. Thank you.
Absolutely, no problem. Thank you.
And so many other people out there along the way. And I just want to go ahead and end this out and say, for the listeners, thank y'all for listening. And before we wrap this up and let this go, I'm going to say, no matter what you do in life, know that it is possible. You can do it. If you're in business, make sure that you're not just doing it for money, that you're passionate about it, because it won't feel like work. So I want to say thanks again for this next episode of The Face Behind the Brand with your girl, Denise Murray, aka Niecy. Until next time, keep rising and keep building. And I see y'all all next week. Have a good one.
Have a good one.